What's up, hardheads? This is your boy Bobby. Welcome back to my channel. And just a couple days ago, I had put up a poll on my Instagram talking about my next Torres Terror Throwbacks Summer Edition. And the poll was between the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 and Dawn of the Dead 2004. And as you guys voted, 2003's Texas Chainsaw Massacre won. So that's what we're going to be discussing today on this video. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is starring Jessica Biel, Arlie Ermey, Eric Balfour, and it's produced by Michael Bay and directed by Marcus Nispel. And this movie is a remake of 1974's Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And if you guys haven't seen that version, please go check it out. I'm not saying it's a lot better than this one, because this movie's a totally different approach of a remake. But I will say that the 1974 was just, I would say it was more torture in that one than this movie here. But yeah, check out the original, but today we're talking about 2003's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Alright, so this movie follows a group of kids who's traveling to go see a concert in Texas, and they come across this pedestrian who's looking distraught and hurt, and they end up picking her up. They don't know what's wrong with her because she's looking really delusional and talking like crazy things. So they're sitting there trying to get answers out of her while she's in the back of their car, and she ends up, you know, just still talking reckless. So they end up going to a direction where she's not wanting to go, and she starts spazzing out. She pulls out a gun from underneath her private areas. I don't know how she ended up fitting that gun up there. I don't know if she got some strong ass thighs, but I guess it worked. She pulls out the gun from that area, and she ends up just blowing a hole in the back, you know, into her head. So all the kids in the car is just going crazy because they don't know what to do, because somebody in their car just blew a hole in their head in their car, just messed up their whole vibe. You know, they were all having fun, singing, you know, smoking weed, and just, you know, preparing for this concert. And, you know, this girl just come into their car and just fuck up their whole vibe. So now they're left with trying to do something with the body or trying to contact their parents. They don't know what to do. So they end up going out for help. They come across this lady, you know, she calls the sheriff. And once she calls the sheriff, that's when everything takes a dramatic turn. The sheriff is played by Arlie Ermey. And I will say, the performance of Arlie Ermey in this movie is like crazy. I mean, throughout the movie, it seemed like he's trying to help him, but it didn't last that long, because he starts to be really, you know, sarcastic to them and start being an asshole. And then throughout the film, his character starts to become even a bigger asshole, and you can just definitely tell that he's not trying to help him out. He's trying to do the exact opposite. Sheriff end up coming, acting like he's trying to help him out, not doing very much of a good job. So the sheriff comes, but by that time, half the group of the friends already had split. So one, you know, some of them went out to go get help, while the other stayed just in case if the sheriff come. So you got one half of the friend group there with the dead body, and, you know, with the sheriff, you know, antagonizing them and just, you know, attacking them, while you have, you know, I think her name is Erin, played by Jessica Biel, and her boyfriend Kemper. They're inside this house. You know, they come across this house trying to get help, and, you know, they come across this old man in a wheelchair. He's sitting there talking a whole bunch of BS. Jessica Biel trying to help him out. Meanwhile, her boyfriend Kemper is like going around the house looking for things. He opens the door and he sees the TV on, and right from behind you just see Leatherface just hit him in the back of the head with a sledgehammer. And then from there on, this movie, you know, Leatherface is like playing no games at all. I'm not comparing him to the original Leatherface, but in this movie here, he's aggressive as fuck. And if you guys don't know, the whole point of Leatherface and his crazy family is that, you know, this is their thing. They, you know, take, you know, people around the area, lost people, or they set people up for them to be stranded and acting like they're going to help them out, and they end up taking them back to their house, and, you know, having Leatherface kill them and take their, you know, take the skin off and, you know, saw off their limbs, and they eat, you know, these people's bodies, and just they're just like cannibalism. They pretty much eat these people. They acting like they're trying to help. Meanwhile, Leatherface, he's a deformed guy. So what he does is, yeah, he saws off their limbs and kind of pretty much help the family out as far as, you know, chopping up body parts and stuff, but Leatherface also, you know, takes the skin off his victims and wears them as a mask. And when you get into this house and you see the basement and you just see like just the grossness, and you just see like, you know, hair and, you know, fingernails and, you know, fingers and legs and, you know, just decapitated heads, and just I can just tell it stinks really really bad in that basement, just because you see all these body parts, and just it just looks disgusting. And being as though that he shaves their skin off their face and wears their skin and wears their face as a mask on himself to hide his deformed face. It's disgusting. But yeah, that's pretty much the plot of this film. You know, the kids is trying to run away from this family and Leatherface, and they're trying to survive the night, and one by one, they're just being killed off in brutal, fucked up ways. I will say Jessica Biel's performance in this movie is amazing. Like, we've always seen her in the show Seventh Heaven and, you know, a few other movies here. But I will say this is one of her breakout moments, especially in a horror film, because we weren't expecting her to be in a film like this. But she did an amazing job as far as showing her emotion and showing, you know, urgency with her friends, and just showing a sense of danger that she is in. And she conveyed that emotion so much in this movie. So props to Jessica Biel in this movie. But there was a lot of crazy moments in this film where I thought that certain characters will survive. There's a moment in this film where Jessica Biel and her friend Pepper is inside the car, and they're trying to get the car started. And it's the moment that you start to see it go, it fucks up. And then you just see Leatherface with his chainsaw just go into the back and just trap him inside this car. And he's attacking him inside the car. And Pepper ends up getting out the car, and I wanted her to survive because I liked her character. And she's fighting back just a little bit, but then he just takes his chainsaw and just like saw her up. And it was just like a sad moment, because again, she was a likable character, and it's just sad to see a likable character go. But I guess that's the beauty of horror films, where you want to like the characters, and when it's their time to go, you feel that emotion for them. But that particular scene was very interesting, because the moment that he had sawed up Pepper, and, you know, Jessica Biel's character Erin, she's looking and she see Leatherface slowly turn, and then she see her friend Kemp. But it's not really Kemp, it's, you know, Leatherface wearing Kemp's face on his face. So that moment right there was just like, yo, what the fuck? And I remember seeing this as a teenager in high school, and me and my friends would sit here and watch this film, and the moment we seen that particular moment, we laughed at it actually. We were a little scared, but at the same time, it was kind of funny because how Kent just slowly turned to the camera. It looked like somebody just gave him a shout out across the street, and he just didn't know who the hell was calling him, so he just turned around like, what? But anyway, that moment was a crazy moment in that movie, and it's kind of sad. Pepper had to go. R.I.P. Pepper. Sorry to see you go. Another crazy moment in this film is the death of Andy. You wanted him to kind of survive in here too, because he wasn't like a douchebag character. One thing I will say in horror films is that sometimes when you have a group of friends, you always have that one or two characters that you don't like because they have to play the douchebag, or, you know, the jock that have to be an asshole. But I will say in this film, none of them are really like that. These are all just regular kids trying to go out and have fun at a concert in Texas, and these are all likable characters. You know what I mean? Like they were curious about a lot of, you know, situations. They was trying to get out of situations. They weren't being assholes. So Andy, you know, when Leatherface got hung, you know, his death was just, you know, kind of messed up. You kind of feel bad for him, and it was kind of torture because he was running from the house once they first confronted Leatherface, you know, in the beginning. He's running through the backyard through all these sheets, and Leatherface kind of saws off his leg, and then Leatherface picks him up and takes him back into the house, and taking him back into his like lair in the basement, grabbing for help and grabbing the walls. And as he's grabbing the walls, you know, his fingernails kind of just slides off his actual fingers, and that part right there just made me cringe so much, because just imagine grabbing into something and your fingernail just bends and actually comes off. So that part right there was just kind of fucked up. And then, you know, he picks up Andy and just throws him onto a hook in his back. And throughout the film, you start to Andy's still alive and he's just being tortured at this moment. So it's just like, there's no way for him to actually survive being on that hook and his leg is off, and it's kind of fucked up. So it's a shame that he had to go, but RP Andy. But getting back into the character, Jessica Biel's character, Erin, she played a great protagonist. She was amazing on here. Andy, he was a great character. Pepper, Kemp. And even their friend Morgan, he was a good character. He played kind of like, I'm not going to say the nerd or anything like that. But he was the nerdiest out of the whole group. But all these people pretty much had a horrible death, minus Erin. Because she was obviously the protagonist. She's the main character in here, so she's going to survive the film. Sometimes they actually don't. There's some Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies out there, one in particular where you think this character is going to survive, and it was like, no, you getting out of here. But definitely the standout star in this film is R. Lee Ermey. He plays Sheriff Hoyt on here, and his character actually terrified me more than Leatherface. For him to play a sheriff and for him to put these kids in danger and kind of just like antagonize them and beat them up verbally and physically, and just the stuff that he was saying out his mouth and just the way he would look at them, and just it was a scary movie on its own just with him. I don't even think you really need Leatherface in most parts of the film because this guy was terrifying as himself. Yeah, R. Lee Ermey did an amazing job as Sheriff Hoyt. Like again, if you guys seen this movie, or if you guys haven't seen this movie, please, when you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about, because the sheriff on here is no joke, and he's kind of an asshole and kind of fucked up. But he just built this sense of like, you're not going to be safe, you're going to be in danger, I'm not helping you, and that's it, you gotta go. And he was just a scary character overall. So R. Lee Ermey did an amazing job. Rest in peace to R. Lee Ermey. He passed away last year, I believe. But he did an amazing job with this character. The atmosphere of this film is also amazing. It's very dark. It's very gritty. And the cinematography on here, I gotta get the cinematographer name, but he did an amazing job on this film. Just the angles and the lighting when they're running through the woods. And just like the scenery from the house, and just the layer in the basement and how it's shot and how the characters is running through certain areas, and it's filmed very, very, very well, and the lighting is just amazing in this film here. It kind of puts you into that environment of you being in Texas in a hot summer day, and you're in danger, and it just puts you in this like nasty feel environment. So the atmosphere in this movie was definitely like the key point of this film. It puts you in there. I feel like it can't be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre without it being like hot and gritty and just like nasty, and it does that in this film here. So the atmosphere is definitely one of the key points in this film. Another thing I liked about this film is that the movie is very violent, yes, but it's not that gory. It's a lot of scenes in this movie where it shows what happened to them, but you don't actually see what happened to them. Like there's moments where, for instance, Pepper's getting obviously chopped up with the chainsaw, and you see that happen, but you don't actually see the chainsaw actually, cutting her up and, limbs flying all over the place. You just see Leatherface with the chainsaw going in that direction, and then you just know that's it. And for the movie at that time in 2003, it was very effective because we didn't need to really see all that gore to know exactly what happened to that character. And like I mentioned earlier, because of the environment and because how amazing the characters' performances are in this film, and you kind of believe it, so you don't really need to see, chainsaws actually cutting up body parts. You do see it in maybe one or two scenes when Andy's getting his leg sawed off. You do see that part, but it's not really gory. Like you don't really see blood splattering all over the place or guts like dripping all over and none of that craziness. But it is very violent, and you do see a lot of stuff, but it's not too gory. So that's one thing I like about this film. It's like left to the imagination, and even though you know what happened, but it's still left to the imagination of what Leatherface is doing to these characters, and it's very effective. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, I picked up this movie when it released on DVD because I guess this was way before Blu-rays ever released. And I had picked up, this version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre on DVD. It's a little beaten up because that's how long I had it. If you guys, I mean, obviously it's 2019 now, so it got some wear and tear and stuff on it. But this particular set was pretty dope because of how it was packaged. So you have the front cover, and it slides out just like this. And then it says the Texas Chainsaw Massacre right there. And then it unfolds. And then you got the select scene, which most Blu-rays don't do anymore. It's all, you could definitely tell this is DVD because of all of this here. And then unfolds, to the double disc. And then one of the cool things about it is that it comes with like a little prop thing here. So once you take this out here, it says evidence enclosed with the fake blood stains on it, as you guys can see. And obviously this is old because it's falling apart as well. And it looked like it's like a evidence envelope or whatever. It's pretty cool. So you kind of open it, and then it has these photos on here, well, in here, of I guess the weapons that Leatherface used and stuff that's at the scene of the crime that they found. It's pretty cool. Fingers, the actual chainsaw, a wall with a clump of hair on it, which is fucking gross. A toy, skeleton with some glasses, made by Jedediah on the film. A still image of Leatherface from the film. That's one thing I like about this movie too, is that they made it seem like it's realistic, like it's a true story. So like having all of this right here is pretty dope. And then like a broken shoe or whatever. And then on the back of them, you have like the evidence files and the descriptions about them and things like that. So this DVD set was pretty cool. I'm not too sure if Blu-rays do these anymore. But I wish they'd go ahead and do stuff like this, because this is pretty fun and it's a good collector set. And even though it's all worn out, I mean, I appreciate all of this. And I had this since 2004. So yeah, I'm gonna cherish this even though it's all torn up. But yes, guys, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I can say it's like timeless. It's not really dated. You can watch this movie anytime, throughout the year, for the rest of the years, because this movie was set back in back in the 1970s. So how it's filmed, and like I said, how the cinematography is, you can never get tired of how the way this movie look, or you can never go ahead and say, oh, this movie's very old, because yes, it's set back in the 1970s, but for how it was filmed in 2003, it's just a great film. So I had a lot of fun watching this then, and I had a lot of fun watching this film now. I watch it every time it comes on TV, especially around Halloween, because it's just one of those type of movies. But it's definitely a great summer horror watch. Again, it takes place in the summer and it's a horror movie. But thanks, guys, for voting for this film to be a part of Torres Terror Throwbacks Summer Edition. You guys know I'm doing the summer edition of horror films throughout the whole entire summer, so I'm happy you guys voted for this one. And maybe next time I'll do Dawn of the Dead, because that's another fun movie watch too, and I can't wait to talk about that film. But I had a lot of fun filming this video here, just talking about that movie, because it brings up a lot of memories. But yes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, great film. My rating for this movie is a 9.5 out of 10. Yes, it's a high rating. This was one of the first horror remakes that we got before, Dawn of the Dead or Halloween and A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. This was definitely one of the top movies that started everything. And then that's when we got all the other movies, because how successful this film was. Even though Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie a low score, I don't know what the fuck they were smoking. But this movie was just so good, and I'm pretty sure when you hear other people talking about this film, they give it 2 thumbs up or they like it, just because it's that much, it's very fun to watch, and it's a good movie, it's a good horror film. But yeah, that's my rating for this movie, a 9.5 out of 10. So yeah, guys, if you know any summer horror movies that you want me to review and talk about and discuss, let me know in the comments below. I would love some opinions on, some other movies that came out in the summer that you guys want me to talk about, or some movies that you want me to put on my poll on Instagram, to put against each other. That would be fun. Yeah, how about you guys, put a bunch of summer horror movies down in the comments below, and I'll pick 2 in the poll, put them there, and just see who wins, and then we'll review them that way. So yeah, let's do that. And also in the comments below, let me know what you thought about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 version, or if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. What the fuck are you waiting for? It's summertime. If you're into horror movies, obviously that's why you're watching this video. Then check out the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. The movie's on Netflix right now, so you can't miss it. You have no excuse not to watch it because it's there. So yes, please let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments below. And if you're going to watch the movie, let me know in the comments below and we can discuss it there. But thanks again for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.